want to be tied up to, Jenny?
Why not?
She's like, bueno.
If I'm gonna let anyone tie me up,
Thank you. Thank you.
The little kissy.
I've been tying a lot of women.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Colombia and I got to tie this beautiful woman in Colombia. And it was an amazing. Colombia was hot.
Like literally, or like the people?
Like both.
Yes, Colombians are beautiful,
Mhm.
both men and women.
And my
especially
first
the women.
night in Colombia, I had the most wild sex that I have not had in a long time in my life. Yeah.
Tell us about it. We want to hear everything.
I do want to add that there were some enhancements involved.
Okay. So you'll have to tell us in what ways.
We took some enhancements.
Okay.
like Colombia enhancements.
When in Colombia.
When in Colombia.
That is what you do.
Yeah, well, when I knew that I was gonna go to Colombia and I was going there for a erotic convention, I wanted to have an erotic experience overall. And the guy that welcomed me, I didn't know if we were gonna connect and if there was a sexual connection, but we met. I stayed in his home. Everything was pretty nice. We started having these conversations what we were talking about earlier, like when you connect with someone in an intellectual way. And I like his conversation. I like.
Yeah, and it's like an automatic turn on, right?
Right.
Like it's a connection that's different.
And then he's like, would you like to try this and play around? And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, that's why I'm in Colombia.
You have no idea who you just asked. Like, this
My
is
first
like,
night, let's go.
Pretty much, and we took those enhancements. And the rest was just very erotic and euphoric, and it went on for many, many hours.
Ooh.
And he was just like, I'm very free, like I just enjoy it. And then we were also turned on by these powders that we took. And he was eating my ass, eating me out like there was no tomorrow. Licking my titties, like just, ow!
she's in heaven.
You're like reliving it as you're telling
Yes.
it.
Her eyes just went backwards.
It was intense, and what was more intense is that we went at it like non-stop for a while, and then we took a break. We went for a walk.
Little debrief.
That was just brunch time with us.
Huh?
That was halftime.
That was halftime. And then we came back and we continued on for another while. And yeah, it was just beautiful. Then he proposed to invite somebody, but that didn't actually.
Like for the sexual encounter?
Mhm.
Okay. A woman, male?
Woman.
Woman, okay.
And that didn't happen. And then we tried to have it again on another time, but I wasn't available anymore because I was gonna fly out to Bogota, and we didn't have enough time to do everything we wanted
Still,
to do.
you had so much fun. And that was Colombia, guys.
That was Colombia.
That was the Colombia
And
recap.
that was the Colombia.
Well. And in Bogota, when I went to the closed out party, I met this 21-year-old boy that was still, I think, a virgin. I don't know.
He was still a virgin, guys. If no one heard. Just in case. Oh, God.
And
Lucky
no,
boy.
but the only thing that we got to do, all that I asked him to do was to worship my legs.
Trembling. He was so nervous. Oh, but what did he do with your legs? Like what?
He kissed them, he licked them. I was like kind of guiding him how to do it. And it was beautiful. Then we tried to meet for actually having sex. But I asked him like to provide the space. But a 21-year-old didn't have the money to do that, so we never met again.
Oh. Well, yeah, I guess he's very, very young. You know, not independent just yet. But you gave him a really good experience.
I think
Even
so.
if it was just your legs, like I'm sure for him he would never forget it.
I think so.
Right?
I think so. Like his first BDSM party, and
Well,
Yeah.
at 21.
At 21.
at 21.
He's starting out right. Good for him.
Good for him. Any
Solid.
Colombian stories for you girls?
No. I don't have any stories, guys.
I know.
Oh no.
I don't. I mean, come on. I was married for 15 years. One guy. That's all I have. That's all I got. That's all I got. Right now, it's like, you know, who knows what's going to happen. You know.
Right.
Um,
But what do you think is going to open up to me?
I mean, I'm already starting this new adventure, right? And it's not, it's still just a fantasy that I'm creating, you know, for the future. But yes, I have many ideas, but I'm not really exactly sure what's going to happen.
Right.
I'll talk about it in its
The
moment,
right moment.
in the right moment, in the right moment. But right now,
I'm excited for
Yeah.
you when you get to talk about it.
yeah.
How about you, Jenny?
Oh, I don't know where to begin.
Oh God, okay.
I am just
You've got it. You've got it.
flowing, I guess.
Woo!
Experiencing, different things, different people. Are we talking about like our escapades, like romances?
Probably. No.
I feel like the fun for me, I mean, I had like my romances in New York, but I feel like the fun didn't really begin until I started traveling. Just a wider array to choose
All
from.
over the world,
All over the world. Different accents
But no
and
Colombians.
cultures. No Colombians.
Just yet.
Not yet.
Not
Maybe.
yet.
Who knows?
And how is with your current relationship?
It's really
Exploratory.
good. Exploratory, exciting, comfortable, homey, and something I've been yearning for, but I wasn't looking for in the moment since I was healing from another relationship.
Yeah.
You know. So I guess the saying is there's a lot of veracity to that saying of like, oh, like it'll happen when you're not looking, and I never believed that until it happened
Until
to
it
me.
happens.
Well, I still remember the time back in a few months back when we were still in Puerto Escondido, and you said that you both were spending time together, and he was coming over to your place,
A lot.
and that you started feeling like a goddess.
Yeah.
Remember
You
that?
use those words,
I
right?
yes.
I'm sure because
Thank you
she
for
wouldn't
refreshing
say it. She wouldn't say it if it weren't true.
Yeah,
So you were
it all
feeling like a
happened very
goddess.
fast, you know. But yes, I was feeling, and then there was a moment where there was some uncertainty and a little bit of a pause, but then that was rectified upon me leaving.
Why were you feeling like a goddess? Was that like the feeling of like he
Well,
was
I
doing
think-
everything or like everything right?
I think
Were
I
you?
started to feel like a goddess upon coming to Porto because I was first pouring into myself, you know, and I really was just feeling so empty and like lacking self-love, and like my purpose of coming to Porto was to just
That's
fill
why
myself
we
back
come
up.
here. That's
We
why
come
we
here.
come here. That's why I'm here.
The story goes, anyone you meet in Porto, it's normally like,
Yes.
yeah, like I just went through a breakup or a divorce, I came to Porto, started over, recalibrated.
This works, guys. This works.
It works.
Magic
It's the
land.
divine
It's
medicine.
magic land.
the divine medicine. But no, I really think and starting off with that mermaid ceremony where we met each other, that's where I was like, wow, like I'm just pouring into myself. I'm surrounded by these beautiful women. I feel beautiful. I'm connecting with myself in a myriad of ways. And that really prompted me to just, pour into myself. And I think that also ultimately attracted a partner that I was looking for. And
that's very
because
important.
before I was chasing, I think chasing out of lack, and I still have attachment issues, which I'm, working through.
We all do.
But yeah, no, I feel very loved and treated like a goddess. But yeah, you have to embody that yourself. Like, yes, I'm a goddess, and I'm this, and I'm that.
Exactly. You find yourself first, you feel yourself first, and then everything else comes next.
Everything else comes, that's aligned for you in abundance and in so many aspects, whether it's like your romantic life, career, friendships, opportunities.
And starting this new relationship, has it been easy for you to express your desires, your needs, your boundaries, or it's something that you still
I think
working with, and it's a process for you?
It's definitely a process, which I think has increasingly gotten better. Initially it was more so like the honeymoon phase and wanting to just, I think I'm such an innate people pleaser, just wanting to people please and not want to, ruin things, even if I was compromising, what makes me happy. But I've learned, like, okay, like this person, if someone really loves you, cares about you, they're not gonna, leave if you set a boundary, and if they do, then they're just not your person. And that's for friendships,
and it also, I feel like it does take time to set those boundaries, like to know who you're dealing with, how that relationship goes in order to set those, because you don't know what boundaries you need to set until they're there.
And until they're, inevitably there's going to be the triggers, they come to the surface, you trigger each other, and it's just about how you navigate it and talk about it. And I think initially for me, I was just I had this like fear of like, I guess rejection, it was a story that I kept telling myself, like, oh, like this and that. But yeah, an argument doesn't necessarily mean like a breakup, it's just a learning. It's like, okay, well, this is something that we need to explore further. How are we gonna rectify this and improve, this element? Where can we compromise? What can we do to improve? And yeah, it's all learning. And I think having a partner too it's such a mirror too. It really shows, yeah.
Did you find it difficult right now that you are living together? What have you find more difficult right now that you are living in the same room, in the same roof?
I definitely was apprehensive about it. I feel like things are actually better here now that we're living together here in Puerto than they were when we were traveling, in Europe, because it was just so fresh. We definitely had a lot of challenges, just, with traveling, getting under each other's skin, some misunderstandings. But I think here there's more routine, there's more comfort. I think we surmounted a lot of those like initial challenges. Like now we know how to navigate them here in the same space. And as I mentioned to you guys earlier too, I think it comes down to, even if you're sharing the same roof, our same, living space, which is nice, like it comes down to still having like your own routine, your own
everyone having their own lives, basically.
Your own lives, having balance, but also being mindful of like, your partner and their needs. And I think for me too, I get very wrapped up in my work, and I tend to get overwhelmed, and sometimes I unconsciously project that onto others, whether it's showing up late to places, out of just feeling overwhelmed and anxiety, or, speaking frantically to my partner and maybe just like not cleaning up after myself because I'm just so scattered. So it's been a learning to just be more mindful, to slow down and realize like, okay, I'm sharing a space with someone. We have different like realities, even though we're sharing the same reality right now. Like it's about just compromise, being conscious, and respecting each other mutually.
Right.
And the self-awareness.
Right. And how about for you, Heidi? What do you think you learned from your marriage, your 15-year-old marriage, that you do want to carry on with your future relationships?
My relationships. Well, I feel like it's still a bit fresh, and I'm still thinking about the things I don't want to do. And one of those things is hiding my emotions, which I feel carries on to even beyond a partnership, and into friendships, into family. It's something that is very deep, and perhaps a little bit of my trauma as growing up as a very independent person, an independent child onto the world, trying to solve my own problems by myself. So whenever there are issues, I've had to deal with them by myself. So I've taken that onto my relationships, onto my entire life. And you really have to figure out that you're not by yourself. You do have a community. You do have people that love you and are there for you. So open up continuously whenever you need to open up. That's one of my biggest points that I'm trying to do right now, and not just keeping everything to myself, which has worked in the past, but it's also made me very, very, what would the word be? I would say kind of emotionless, because I hide it, emotionless in a way. But it's totally opposite of what I am. I'm very sensitive, very sentimental. I love with all of my being. So that's something I want to take on. I want to show what I'm feeling, show that these feelings are true, and just continue, to show that.
Yeah, like experience them, live them.
Yeah,
live
feel your feelings, guys.
Yes.
Feel whatever you're feeling and let it out, let it go, and share it. It's fine. So that's a big thing for me. It's a big thing for me.
And that's a very nice note, because for a few years we were carrying on of just being happy and chasing happiness and being always joyful and playful and successful, right? And we were starting to base happiness in success. Even if you were not happy, you started feeling not successful in life. But I think things have changed over the years, and now we're starting to understand that we're just humans.
Yeah.
And that we all have emotions, and that we all experience them in different ways, and that it's not shameful to make a space.
Let yourself be vulnerable every now and then. Like, yes, I am an independent, strong-ass motherfucking woman.
Yes,
But I also feel this, and I am vulnerable, and I do feel, and this is how it is. This is how I'm going to express it, and I should express it.
And I think what happens, and that's something that we don't think about it a lot, is that, like yesterday, the guy that I went out with, that I mentioned, he was super hyper and super with a lot of energy, and then he finally calmed down.
Tone it down a notch.
I think he was on something, though.
Yeah, yes, because of his actions.
And what you told me before was that, so he had his mind set on one thing, right? It was sex, right? But that's not what he needed.
No.
Right? He did not need sex.
No.
That's not what he needed. He needed comfort.
Yeah.
He needed comfort. He was anxious. He was insecure about what he even wanted, right? He just arrived. I'm gonna, meet this woman, and he had no idea what to even do with you, and you were like automatic. You're like, okay, this guy doesn't need sex, he needs a hug. Like, this guy needs a fucking hug. So that's what you did.
And literally, yeah, he cuddled into me like he was like a big baby in this tiny woman, and I just was holding him for a long time.
He just needed to be held. Literally. He needed to be held.
The nurturing feminine energy.
Yes.
But I think it also happens to us women. Sometimes we go around life thinking that we want this sexual energy or to connect with someone sexually. And all that we really want is just to be noticed, to be part of something, to feel wanted, appreciated. And it's not necessarily about having sex. It's just maybe a cuddle, maybe a touch, maybe some comfort words.
Right?
Yeah.
Words of affirmation.
And opening up and looking and to the people that we feel comfortable with, how much we can share with too. Expressing it, because if we pretend to be as strong and always happy, it's tiring, it's exhausting,
Yeah.
and it's depressive.
Very depressing.
And when we start understanding that emotions are just going through you, they're not gonna be there forever. And maybe today I feel like shit, and oh, that's where I was going. Like that we forget about, like, we can make very smart decisions sometimes, and there are gonna be times when we have made stupid decisions, or we'll make stupid decisions. But that's just life. Some days I feel like a goddess, and some days I don't feel like a goddess. And there have been many times where I make very smart decisions, and there will be times where I make very stupid decisions. There will be times when I feel very happy, and there will be times when I'm just not wanting to get out of bed. So, like, to not forget that that's part of life, to
The human experience.
the human experience, that we cannot be always strong and always making smart decisions and always, it's tiring, it's exhausting. And nowadays, compared to a few years back when everybody was like happiness, positive,
The
positive,
toxic positivity.
Yeah.
and
Becomes toxic. Yeah.
now we're trying to rethink it and reprocess it and relive it, and to be okay with being vulnerable, because we are just humans, and we are complex, we are nothing lasts forever, and experiences don't last forever. So maybe an experience has us very happy for a few, but then that experience changes, because everything is evolving.
Yeah.
And then being okay. Maybe now I'm sad because the experience ended, but what tools do I have to work with this experience now?
Exactly. And another point that you also had mentioned to me was to let these feelings pass through you. You know, like, yes, you're experiencing them, but you're letting them go through you and not holding on to them is a very important point, because that's what we do. That's what makes us take stupid decisions at the very end, you know, because they're based on emotion,
which is temporary.
Exactly, which is temporary, and you didn't let them go through you, so that's what happens, which is fine. It's very human, you know. But we also have to be mindful that these things are happening, and we have to share when they do, you know, because it's not, you know, we're not alone in this world.
Yeah, not just like suppress it or mask it with that, you know, positivity. Like, I mean, it's amazing to be strong and resilient, of course, but if you're feeling like shit, if you're feeling sad, like, embrace it. It's okay, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to be positive and happy and strong all the time.
Right, like today someone sent me a message, one of my followers on Instagram, and said something along the lines that he really enjoys what I have to share, and I guess he's been learning stuff from me, but I haven't been posting much this week because of an incident that happened, and I've been feeling a bit turned off. So when I feel turned off, I don't post much.
You don't want to share.
Yeah, I have nothing to share in reality. That's why I don't share. So I said thank you, and right now I'm feeling off because of the incident that happened that I announced a few days ago. But I'll be back soon when I'm feeling better. I think it's so important to talk about those things so more people can relate, like, yeah, we're not always happy. We are not superhumans that...
Yeah, and I think that's something, especially because we're in a very digital world now, and that's how we socially interact, right? Like, And we want to know what we're seeing, what we're digesting is real. Like, this is a real life. Like, these are real situations that go through. And this is real wine, guys.
We didn't have a core opener, so I don't think
I got here too late with the. You guys had to improvise with the night.
We make it work. We make it work.
we did it once before in Querétaro.
Yeah, but the ceiling was not very happy with us.
Oh no!
Then we were with the mob.
She was mopping the ceiling that time.
Wait.
It was great. It was great.
Did you have to stand on a chair to like reach the ceiling? Like,
Yes.
Yes. And there was a video about
Very,
that.
very
but
Oh, I need to see this video.
I don't know what it is anymore.
No.
But it was so much fun.
So much fun. But yeah. Okay, let's get out of the gloominess though.
Yes, let's get out of the
Yes.
gloominess. And let's go back
It's
to
real
this.
stuff though. It's real stuff,
The
guys.
good juicy stuff.
But let's talk about this party. This party where the wine exploded.
Yes, the pizza party.
And people were, so I used to have these parties where I used to invite random people. And but not everybody was random people. There were some people that I did know.
We were chosen, guys. We were chosen.
Yeah, people were chosen to come to these special experiences.
VIP. Exclusivity.
And then it was so iconic, I guess, because I would sit on somebody's lap and kiss them, and then go to somebody else's lap and kiss somebody else. And people used to wonder,
I
like,
don't know what party that was.
oh, you were not on that one?
No.
Like, I just recall pizza. I don't
Yeah.
recall the kissing.
I remember the wine. I remember the pizza. I don't remember the lap dances. I mean, it would have been cool.
Well, they started getting steamier.
Okay.
As the congregations became more popular.
The congregation. So how did people, or how did you invite people? Like, how did you?
How did we meet?
Yeah. Like, did you post on
Oh, no.
Facebook?
I was in an expat group in Querétaro. Yeah.
And I posted that I had been studying. That's when I was studying sexology, and I had been just books for many months, and it was around December,
Yeah.
and I started feeling like I was about to end my certification, and I started having a little bit of more free time, and I was feeling very excited and happy. So I posted in this one group, I'm feeling full of energy and I want to share, and anybody who's available, I'm gonna let's meet. Who wants to meet? Like, I'm looking for eccentric people.
Like, you found me, baby. I'm here.
Yeah.
And we met at this one bar where
Yes.
this one girl was
Yes.
leaving.
Yes, that's true. Oh yeah, we
Yes.
met that first time there.
Yes.
It's true, before your house.
And I think Anne came and
Yeah.
everybody else.
I had already met Anne. Yeah. So fun.
And that was like the very first hangout. But I was trying to have the pizza dinner parties. So even if I didn't know them for a long time, I would tell them, oh, I'm having a pizza party for such a day.
Would these be weekly?
Huh?
Would these be weekly or like?
They
twice
were
a
like,
month?
I think they were twice a month. I think they were twice
Yeah,
a
they
month
were
because
twice.
I don't think they were monthly. They were pretty often.
Often. Yeah.
And I will go to the breweries because there are a lot of breweries and coffee shops.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And I meet hot people and say, hey, I'm having a party tonight. You want to come over?
Come over for some pizza.
And more.
Like, is pizza code for something? Cheesy.
Kissing. A lot of sauce.
Very
Spicy.
saucy.
Very saucy. And many people used to be just really like, yeah, sure. Or some people used to be like, I'll let you know, but then they used to come out and
You were at capacity.
Yeah, and it's funny because like that's where her, well, your course was ending and she's just starting to get into this topic, and she ends up, being in this very conservative state, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, she's trying to open up and share, this knowledge with the community, and the community is just like firing back against her. Because it's so conservative. Like they're taking down her posters and they're like saying, sending her messages like, this isn't the place for you. So I really admired that, from her, because it's something that's so necessary to talk about sex, talk about being, free with your sexuality. This is a safe space, but there are no safe spaces in that state. So she was kind of like
very restrictive.
Very restrictive, and yeah, they're just so closed up to it up until this moment.
Yeah, I remember this. I was doing a freaking dance, and the teacher invited me to collaborate and do something together. And when I sent her my bio, she didn't like that I used certain words like eroticism, and I don't remember all of them, but there
She
were.
was trying to change her entire flyer. She's like, no, take this word out, take this one out. I'm like, this is what I'm about. Like how you're telling me not to be myself, not to be what I am trying to teach.
My authentic practice and self.
And she chose not to go on with the event, and I ended up cutting it. And after that, I had another event. The other girl, I think, Anne's friend, she did a video on a conversation that I had. But it was very few people were being supported, and it was a young kid. And the community that they didn't want to follow or support me. So that's when I say I'll just go somewhere else. But then I came here, and here it hasn't been a lot more different, even though that there is a lot of openness or a lot of free mind people. But just knocking on the doors of, maybe I haven't knocked on the right door, but I'm never gonna forget the time when someone told me, if this was the Inquisition, you would be the first one going there.
You would be the first one on the stake to be burned.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh, thank you, that's a compliment.
That's a compliment, yeah.
So I think it's just something that is with the sex topic. It's such a controlled, like very understood.
I mean, I feel like
sexuality.
it talks a lot about our insecurities. And I'm not just talking about myself, because I had gone through that, and maybe because I also, went through, I have, history of sexual assault and all of that. But regardless of that, there is sexual insecurity because you're told not to talk about certain things, and or to keep them to yourself only. But how am I gonna know, how this world is if we don't talk about it? So it's very important to bring it out to the world.
It is very important because it's a part of us that we really enjoy so much, but we're not living it to the fullest because we are so limited with information, and we are not so educated to understand the responsibility that comes with being sexually active, and how beautiful it can be if we actually understood what it means to be sexually active. Because it's not just about emotions. Yeah, I respect people that say I can only share myself if I'm in love or feeling emotions. That's respectful. But it's not just about that. Because you can have emotions, but if the other person has poor judgment of what it means to, what is being vulnerable, because being sexually is being vulnerable, and you don't know how to respect that, it's dangerous.
Yeah. I guess it boils down to the communication that you have prior to. I feel like that's the main piece there. The main point is communication. All about communication. Like, what are your vulnerable parts? What do you like? What do you dislike? How far can you take it?
What do you want to explore?
Yeah. What do you want? What do you like? Yeah.
What have you tried that you want more of or you don't want to do again?